So to join live stitches to a cast on edge like this, a backwards loop cast on edge or a long tail cast on edge, what you first do, go into your first stitch, pretend this is the first stitch here. You go into the first stitch as if to purl down into the stitch, like that. And then behind this little crossed stitch you'll see there at the very base of your cast on. If it's a backwards loop cast on, this is really clear and really kind of loose and easy to see. If it's a long tail cast on, this will be really kind of tight and small, but it's still there. Just go behind that little twisted stitch. And then you go back to the stitch on your needle and go into it as if to knit, up into it. I like to think of it as, when I'm doing any kind of catch and stitch, as opposites first. So if it's going to a knit stitch, you first go into it like a purl. And if you're going to a purl stitch, you go into it as if you're going to knit it. All right, so then you go into the next stitch as if to purl. Behind the crossed stitch up here, and cast on edge. And then up into the stitches of to knit. Do it all on one pass of the needle there. Take one stitch off the needle, go into the next stitch. This is really handy for any kind of seaming where you're joining the end of your work to the very beginning. I use this not just for cowls like this, where you're working these long scarves and then joining them up, but also for things like hand warmers or other kinds of seamed sideways projects. So it's like Kitchener stitch on one end and like more like seaming on the other end. But since we're pretending this cast on edge are live stitches, you see how they look just like little stockinette stitches right there. There's a little bit of a cross in them. So it'll take some real sleuthing to even figure out where that seam is.